All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. We're so excited for you to join us today. My name's Kimberly, and I'm the growth marketer here at Balto. I'm going to put my email in the chat here in a second. You can reach out to me directly if you have any questions about our webinars or have any feedback or suggestions for future topics for us to cover. I would love to hear from you. And speaking of the chat, please introduce yourself and let us know where you're calling in from. I'm here in sunny Los Angeles, California, but we have Baltonians from all over the US and all around the world joining us here today. We will have time for a Q&A at the end, so please be sure to add your questions in the Q&A tab. You can toggle between that and the chat over on the right-hand side. Last item of housekeeping here. We are going to be recording this webinar, and I'll send a link in the next couple of days. Now, AI in the contact center isn't one size fits all, and not every shiny new use case is worth chasing yet for your contact center. So here at Balto, we are regularly taking the pulse of AI adoption in contact centers, which gives us a really clear picture about where AI is delivering value today and where it's still finding its footing. Ultimately, we think that having a really good AI strategy isn't about doing absolutely everything. It's about doing the right things in the right order. So without further ado, I want to introduce Michelle Barbeau, our Senior Customer Enablement Manager here at Balto. Hi, Michelle.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your day today. Let's talk about it, right? So, I'm here to talk about agent assist and notes. We really think this is very much proven technology, and we've personally been doing it here at Balto since 2017. So, if you're not already in this realm, it's a great place to start. It's a quick win. You're going to see improvements right there live with the conversations from the first call. So, a quick poll for our audience here, just in case you've got a moment. Are you already using Agent Assist and/or AI note taking on your calls? Let us know. Yes? No? And while you're doing that, I'll keep going here. Now, I used to be an agent and a trainer. And by the way, it was the dark ages, one that did not have agent assist. And maybe you know what that landscape looks like. Let me see if this sounds familiar. Long ramp times, high turnover, especially for new hires. My favorite was the very first day of new hires. If they came back after lunch, I called it success. Okay. It was that bad, right? Lack of deep knowledge and inconsistent execution. If that new hire made it, all the way until their first year before I could be really sure that it would stick. And then, oh, by the way, those who did make it to a longer tenure getting stuck in their own ways and those bad habits because, they were a top performer. You didn't want to work with anything and break something, right? How do you discover and scale the good parts, but also continue to refine and evolve them and realize that your calls, especially the good ones, have a rhythm that you can see and feel if you can find it, right? So, okay, seeing that, we've got some various folks here, how do you find even that reliable good call? So, Agent Assist is a really helpful place to start when it comes to AI. It's really listening to your calls and the agents as they're moving through those initial contacts and giving them what they need. They're more confident right out the gate. They make sure that they have what they need. And if needed, they're more compliant, right? So if you're considering Agent Assist, also would you make sure that you know what it includes? Because it's a kind of a buzzword, right? And not all Agent Assist is created equal. Folks like Balto, that's what I know, right? And also provide visibility in those calls so you can scale those good behaviors with things like checklists, right? Like a map of the call, and then keep everyone up to date, new hire or full tenured, by giving those resources right when they need it on the call. So that's Agent Assist. But after the call, what about notes, right? Now, these days, I'm not on the phones as much, okay? But I still personally use this technology every day. If you're not using AI for summarization and note generation, I'm highly recommend you do it now. Run, don't walk towards this one, okay? Because after call work is usually low value and high risk and time consuming. And what do I mean by that, right? Like low value, it's not that this isn't important, but regurgitating something that has already happened, already said, already done, that's not helping your agent get to the next call in the queue, right? And then if they're not doing those notes efficiently or incorrectly, that can have a big impact on your customer experience, follow through, repeat calls, and there's that call queue again. Too many of them sitting around. So, notes mean your agents don't get distracted mid call or waste time after the call. A summary and most of the important details are generated automatically. So the agent only reviews it, right? Maybe adds some additional things and then moves on to the next call. So the main takeaway here is agent assist and notes. We think they're here to stay. They're the foundation that the contact center AI is being built upon. The transcription in technology has just absolutely improved over the years and just keeps getting better. And so we think this is a great place to start with your AI in the contact center. Of course, if you're a part of the Balto pack and or are considering it, stay tuned because we've got some really great things coming. The contact center is our happy place. So we're working to further revolutionize Agent Assist in 2026. More to come there, okay? Now, to go to our next step, if we keep tracing that through line through the contact center, agent assist on the call, notes after the call, what about QA? How do you keep an eye on the quality of those interactions? Well, I'll bring Ben to the stage to talk a little bit more about that front. Because QA is another part of the AI system that we don't want you to miss.
Awesome. Thank you, Michelle. And hello, everybody. My name is Ben Cavalier, and I'm going to talk a little bit about quality assurance. As Michelle mentioned, the next logical place to take an AI implementation project after something like Agent Assist and that automatic note-taking component is a automated quality assurance process. So just to get the lay of the land here, I've got a couple quick poll questions for you. To kick things off, just curious how many agents you guys have. I'll pop that in now and give it a few seconds. See some in the 26 to 150 range. Very good, very helpful. And then the next poll question I have is how many managers or team members on your quality assurance team do you currently have? Give that a few more seconds. And then lastly, what percentage of calls do you think you currently are able to score for quality assurance at the moment? Cool. So the reason I ask is typically what we see is that most of the times teams doing manual quality assurance processes are only able to review anywhere between 0 and 5% of their calls. Obviously, this creates huge blind spots, missed coaching moments, compliance risk can slip through, as well as agents just are operating without clear and consistent feedback. And so not only is that coverage low, but it also takes a ton of time and effort just to get to that small percent of coverage. This is where AI-powered quality assurance really can make a major difference. By automating your quality assurance process, you're able to score 100% of calls for quality and compliance. This is huge for highly regulated industries, so healthcare, insurance, financial services, and it frees your quality assurance teams to focus on higher value work, so spotting patterns, identifying true skill gaps, and opportunities for coaching. To put it a little bit more simply, you're able to spend your time and energy addressing the challenges rather than trying to identify them in the first place, which is pretty huge. So it gives you time back and visibility at scale across your customer interactions. AI quality assurance also makes that visibility immediate and continuous. So from the agents and reps perspective, instead of waiting for weekly or monthly review cycles, agents can get real-time call scores, transcripts from conversations that they just had, and a little bit more of the why behind the result of that call while it's still fresh. Just to dig into this a little bit further, the research shows that the best way to coach is being proactive and coaching right in the moment, fresh after something happened. So with AI doing the heavy lifting of reviewing those calls, you are much better positioned to identify things that you can coach on in the moment. Here at Balto, implementation is very simple and builds on what you likely already do. So we will mirror your existing scorecard and then validate that on a small sample, around 20 calls, just to make sure it's working correctly. And then Balto will continue to refine its quality assurance scoring as it works continuously without replacing human judgment. So as we're looking forward this year as to where we can take quality assurance, a big direction of development is the field of sentiment analysis. If you're familiar with Balto, we introduced sentiment analysis graphs for every call last year. And essentially what this allows is an understanding of how the interaction evolved over time. So it doesn't oversimplify your customer interactions into a binary positive or negative bucket, and instead takes into account the subtle nuances in the conversation so that you can understand, where a call started and where it ended and what happened along the way. So we're continuing to refine our models in that area, but looking for ways to notify supervisors in real time when calls are starting to go south. So that ability to score every interaction, with the automated quality assurance obviously creates a lot more space for flexibility in how and what you can score on if you're not limited by resources. And it gives you a better option to discover more from your customer interactions, which is a little hint about what Katie Marino is going to share more on right now. So with that, I'm going to pass it to Katie to talk a little bit more about Balto's insights.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ben. My name's Katie Marino. I'm a customer success manager here at Balto. So like Ben said, I'm going to talk a little bit about insights. So another thing that having AI ride along with your call enables you to do is ask questions about the data that we're already gathering. So some common questions that our customers want answers to are, why are customers calling? Or why are customers calling back when they don't get their issue resolved on the first time? Or what are some common complaints that our customers are expressing? These are things that contact center managers can get partial answers to without a AI platform like Balto via things like disposition codes or manual spot checking. But as you probably know, those things are very prone to human error. And it's nearly impossible to get a truly holistic view due to just really poor sample size and the manual nature of those methods. What AI has now enabled you to do is ask these questions in natural language, meaning you don't need any real technical knowledge to extract this sort of data. This is a huge deal as it means that you're now equipped with the data that you need to make important decisions for your business. So to help illustrate this, I want to give an example of a really awesome way that one of our customers has been able to use Balto Insights to help transform their user experience and improve agent efficiency. So one BPO customer that we work with has a tolling client, and this tolling customer really didn't have any way to measure first call resolution or to understand why people were having to call in more than once. And so they really wanted to understand, one, how frequently their customers were having to call in more than once to resolve the same issue, and two, why this was happening. What were the reasons that they were calling in? So through our platform, through Balto Insights, they were able to calculate the rate of repeat callers. And one of the key things that they discovered was that when customers don't get a resolution on the first call, they call back an average of 2.2 times. So 80% of the time, they have to call back 2 times to get their issue resolved. And then outside of that 80%, they're calling back 3 or more times to get that issue resolved. When they broke it down by call queue, they found something really interesting, which was that their Spanish call queue had one of the highest rates of repeat callers. This was interesting because as a whole, their Spanish call queue made up a pretty low percentage of overall call volume. So this definitely raised some eyebrows. With our platform, they were able to uncover really 2 root causes of what was going on. One was that there was a pretty significant coaching and communication gap when it came to their Spanish-speaking agents. And then the second thing was that uh, their Spanish-speaking customers were calling in for things that really should have been they should have been able to take care of via the self-service portal. When they looked it into a little bit further, they realized that the self-service portal on their website didn't accommodate Spanish. There was no translation available to them. And so it's really understandable once you have all those details that people didn't feel comfortable entering in like their payment information into a portal where they didn't understand the language. So now they had the data to justify dedicating more resources to website language optimization. This is a pretty straightforward, easy solution, but without Balto, there was really zero visibility or knowledge that this was happening. So as we look into the future, we'll continue to innovate on our Insights dashboard. Really, our goal is to give managers simple insights that make a big impact. We'll also continue to add ways that you can drill down into insights. So not only will you get these great high-level information, you'll be able to drill down into specific call examples and evidence. All of that to say, we're really excited to continue iterating on our product and provide you with the information that matters most to you. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and transition to my colleague, Corday, who's going to talk a little bit about AI voice agents.
Hello. Thank you, Katie. That was amazing. Hi, everyone. My name is Corday Afolabi, and I am the Senior Product Marketing Manager here at Balto. And like what Katie mentioned, I'm super excited to talk about our AI voice agents with you, and we have these live on our platform now. So before we jump in, we've just got a poll question, and what we would love to know, so we just get that poll question up. What we'd love to know is, if you were evaluating AI voice agents for clearly defined customer interaction, what would you need the strongest proof of before moving forward? So what would you guys want to see? What would you want to know right before going ahead to say, okay, I think this is a great idea, or oh, I don't know, maybe this isn't the best for me right now? Okay, so we'll give it a couple seconds here. Okay, interesting. So we're seeing that we want to see that some calls can escalate smoothly when the AI can't resolve them. Okay. Also seeing you want to know why the AI failed on a call. All right, very interesting. Okay, cool. Awesome. This is great to know. And the reason for this is because we'll talk a little bit more about both of these topics specifically today. So now, like I mentioned, I'm really excited to announce that Balto now has AI voice agents that are ready to use, right? And the reason why I'm excited and the whole company and our customers and the industry is really excited about this is because these have been in high demand, right? So whether that be from our customers and also what we're seeing in the market. And the reason why this is really important for us is that we know and believe that the voice agents that we have are immediately world-class. And the reason for this is because ours are embedded in the Balto platform, right? Which we also know is the industry-leading intelligence layer. Now, I'm sure this isn't probably like the first time that you've heard of voice agents, or maybe you've tested some out yourself. But the reason why I think you really enjoy and love what we have within the platform is because with the Balto voice agents, you also have access directly to a full suite AI platform, right? So you know how sometimes, I don't know, if you go shopping online, you might find, or maybe specifically for like an AI tool, right? So what you might see is that, oh, you think it's really interesting, or maybe you're on like a website and maybe you can see like an interactive demo, but then the more you dig into it and you see more, then you're like, oh, this doesn't even like integrate with our systems that you work with. Or maybe what happens is you book a demo for the tool and then you realize, oh, wait, in order for this to work, I've also got to buy this, I've got to buy that, I've got to buy all of these things, and then the costs start to rise up, right? But right away, you're able to see that by using ours, right, you get access to the platform, which is really where the intelligence lies. So we're really excited about this. Now, like I mentioned, I imagine that, you know, you've all been seeing AI everywhere, right? Whether that be with voice agents or whatever else, right? So you can see a lot of discussions everywhere, whether that be again like on LinkedIn. I personally like to listen to podcasts. You know, I've gone to conferences where they're talking about this, and maybe you have as well too. And what is oftentimes seen is that a lot of the best AI tools that are available are either within a platform that your current systems that you work with don't integrate with, or it's really hard for you to get started or get enabled with those AI tools. Now, this means that specifically when it comes to AI voice agents, right? If you are interested in them, managing it will have to be done on another platform. But what we've done here is to ensure that everything that you're managing for your AI voice agent and also for your human agents will all be done within one platform, right? So this is awesome for managers because it makes your lives a lot easier. And then also for execs as well, too, because all the data that your managers or your team leads or your supervisors are providing to you is all coming from one place, right? So you have one central consolidated area where all that data is stemming from. And excuse me, and another thing as well too, and I've been in this position as well too, is where if I'm working with an AI voice agent, I want to ensure that everything that I'm getting is coming from one place. Then if I have to explain that over to my manager, right, it's easy for me to pull the data and then we can go ahead and make informed decisions that way. So you don't have to suffer through the mental gymnastics of having to learn a whole other system. And this is for current customers, but also for prospects that are interested. You have everything there in one place. So I'm really excited about this, especially for all the prospects that have talked to us about voice agents. And even if you're on this call and you're interested in it, we can also provide you with more information there. Now, the cool thing, I think this is really cool, I'm sure you guys will love this as well too, is that if you're brand new to Balto, you also have the ability to take your calls and we can provide you with insights so that you can see which conversations are the best candidates for voice agents, right? So you'll see what delivers the best ROI, and you have full transparency to know how to design these voice agents to resolve the conversations effectively and consistently. Okay, so the reason how we do this is we specifically use code built bots. And this is really, really important because the truth is, like, a lot of different voice agents that you might see out in the market are really built in flow builders. And the difficulty with this, and I've seen a lot of customers, that have tested these out, or even prospects. And again, like I mentioned at conferences, you hear this quite often, is that a lot of these flow builders, they don't really work very well for complex cases, or simply they just don't work at all, right? Which is the worst thing ever. Now, if you read through reviews and comments of customers that have used voice agents, and especially like the first iteration of them that were built on those flow builders, what you find is that a lot of these big companies, whether those enterprise ones or even like mid-market or small businesses, are burning lots of money and lots of time in pilots, and then those AI agents don't even end up working the way that you want it to. So, I don't know if anyone, drop a comment if you've seen the show. If anyone has seen the show that used to be on MTV back in the day, Pimp My Ride, or like Extreme Home Makeover, where you're essentially having whatever it is, or whatever your dreams are, whatever it is that you want to be created, you have that fine-tuned exactly to you. And that's what we're able to do with these code built bots, right? So we get in and we're able to have conversations with you. Like I mentioned, we see the calls that would be the best fit for those voice agents. If you want it speaking a certain way, the sentiment and different things like that, you can fine-tune all of that according to your needs. Now, what's really awesome about this is that by doing this, we have solved the issues that people found in those first versions of voice agents, right? So it's really, really cool. I think it's really interesting. I think we have some of the best prompt engineers in the world, really. And when they've demoed this for us internally, it's just incredible to see. And so, like I mentioned, especially for those of you that are on the call, especially like managers, or, maybe you're an exec as well too, the worst thing ever is if those voice agents are unable to complete like key workflows or handle edge cases or escalate things, or maybe they escalate things way too late, right? So by the time it gets to a human agent, they're a little confused, or they have no visibility into what's actually taking place. So the cool thing about this, like I mentioned, is not only do we have the ability to create this exactly the way that you want it, but you're not left behind. It's not like we just create the voice agent for you and then we throw you in the deep end and we're like, you go figure it out yourself. So like what Katie said, and Katie, like who just spoke before me, mentioned, is that, we have an incredible customer support team. And also, Michelle, who spoke earlier, is part of that team as well too. And then that, coupled with the fact that we have world-renowned prompt engineers, you have the confidence that our voice agents can not only be created specifically for your needs, but they can also be refined whenever you want. So as your business changes, as things evolve, maybe your industry is looking a little different, we're able to fully take care of you and your business that way. Okay, so we've seen lots of demand, like I mentioned. A lot of common things that I'm hearing is, people wanting to have their voice agents handle insurance claims, or maybe like in home improvement specifically, sorry, to handle booking meetings and confirmations. So if you have any other suggestions, or maybe you have some ideas that you have for your voice agents, make sure to drop that in the chat. I'd love to see some ideas that some of y'all are thinking about. But we have a full diverse sort of we have full diverse capabilities in what our voice agents can do. So if you're interested, again, reach out to us. Kimberly's left her email in the comments, so you can reach out to the team that way. Or if you want to go through our website and book a demo, we can also communicate with you that way. So all this to say, we're super excited. I'm really excited. And so if you're a customer, make sure to reach out to your CSM if you haven't already, or our sales team will be more than happy to set you up and you can see how all of this is working. All right, Kimberly, so back to you now.
All right, I'm going to bring everybody back on stage with us, and it's time for a Q&A. I want to get us started, though, because, Katie, that's really one of my favorite examples that I have heard about how a customer has used insights. I love it because it shows how the contact center influences so much more than just the contact center. Like, you were able to get insights from Balto about why people were calling, and it influenced the product development roadmap for this toll client. I would love to know from you or from Michelle if you have any other kind of examples of creative ways that people have used Balto insights that might be a little inspiring to some of the people on the call today.
Sure. One that comes to mind, it's perhaps one that maybe will resonate with different folks. I'm sure you've heard your teams complaining about it. A specific team has a specific purpose and they keep getting calls for a different team, or are muddying the purpose. Like, it's a sales team, but they're getting billing conversations. It's a service team, but they're getting sales calls, things like that. The amount of, I am them, right? Like, I was one of the folks that's like, well, that wasn't even a sellable call. How could I have booked it, right? That's what I sounded like, okay? And so if your team sound like that, that's just kind of qualitative. Like, are they a squeaky wheel? Are they just complaining? Or is this real? And it was very difficult to get the data. It was really hard to parse through it. It took a whole data analysis team and really complex flows to be able to see it. And that's based if your tech stack was set up enough to be able to have that information. Basically, it was a black box. So being able to quickly, like, we're talking the average supervisor can get this information in our platform today with your team. How many of the calls that have come through this subsection of teams is actually about this? That's incredible. And being able to just walk that data over. I've seen multiple of our folks who have worked with the Balto Pack be able to bring that type of conversation to the forefront. I've seen teams create sub-teams to handle those specific subflows, or just train their team to be able to handle certain calls if you can't reroute them somewhere else. But getting the data that had just been qualitative and untested was really very impactful, and it's been fun to see. And like, it feels really good, righteous to those of us who've been complaining about it. Here, we've been vindicated.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's something too. It's important to all of us at Balto that AI and people work hand in hand. This isn't about replacing the human touch, because that is really something that in both sales and customer service conversations can really make a difference in whether or not you're keeping that customer, making sure they're happy, if you're getting that sale. But as Ben brought up specifically in his section too, like, there's a lot of quantitative stuff that we're wasting humans on when they can be focusing on qualitative stuff that humans are best at. And yeah, I think that's just another example of like bringing in that qualitative human judgment, allowing people the time, freeing up that time that they can fill doing the stuff that they do best. Corday, I know you brought this up in your section, but I really wanted to drill down again, because I think it is so cool that with this next kind of phase of voice bots, people have been working the kinks out for a little while in this phase one. One of the things that we are most excited about is the ability for voice bots to be integrated with insights. And so can you tell us a little bit more about what that visibility is really going to mean for the people running the contact center, that essentially these voice bots can be coached in many ways like people can?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think number one, right, like I mentioned, a lot of times when it comes to AI and specifically with like voice agents, people love what they can do with them, right? They love the fact that maybe even the quality of the voice agents, that it sounds human or it understands sentiment. If you're in a noisy area, it can pick up on what you're saying and different things like that. However, they don't really know the specific use cases or the most beneficial use cases for those voice agents. So now not only do they have visibility into what they should be using those voice agents for, and they have the data behind that, they can also see how the voice agents are performing. Like I mentioned, like the worst thing ever is to essentially have your voice agent go ahead and run, but you don't actually see how it's performing. You don't know if it's escalating conversations to human agents when it's supposed to. You don't even know if it's answering these questions correctly, but we're able to give you direct visibility and insight into that. Another thing about this as well too is that, like I said, these voice agents aren't just something that's like a one and done, and then you just sort of leave it going forever. What we're able to do is extrapolate the data from those voice agents so that you can constantly refine them. Maybe your playbook changes. Maybe the way your business outcomes are in the next quarter will be a little different. So you need to fine tune what the voice agents are doing and how they behave. So you're able to do that and you're able to see data around that. Another thing too that I think is extremely important and oftentimes really isn't focused whenever you see people promote these voice agents are the guardrails that you can put around them. And the reason for that is because unfortunately a lot of platforms can't do that, right? So the scariest thing is having your voice agent just go ahead and hallucinate. I'm sure we've all had like ChatGPT or whatever else, do that, and then you got to go back and prompt it again. So we make sure to put specific guardrails around whatever it is that you want, and then you can see how that performs. And then, like what you mentioned there, Kimberly, you can then constantly improve that over time. So those are a little bit of that's a little bit of information around the insights that you can use for those voice agents.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and just checking, it doesn't look like we have any more questions right now. So I wanted to just do a quick little wrap up. In terms of like our overall kind of survey of the state of AI coming into 2026, there are a handful of quick wins where if you're not already implementing AI in your contact center, you really need to get on Agent Assist and Notes. Those are going to be the quickest ways that you can have a really big win for your contact center. Once you're doing that, once AI is kind of riding along with all of your calls, the ability to QA 100% of calls is a big game changer for especially regulated industries, but really everybody. And when you have that visibility, those insights, that is something we are continuing to refine. Like the world is noisy with data. And so being able to ask questions of it, again, in natural language, the way that you would talk to just a regular person and ask what is going on, and for platforms like Balto to be able to surface the exact kind of information that you need and the ability to drill down into details, that is something we're really excited about continuing to refine this year. And then voice bots, that's the big thing everybody's wondering about. And yeah, we're so excited for phase 2 and for you to see the new voice bots that we have in store here at Balto. So with that, thank you everybody for joining us today or for watching this some other time in the future. Hello. We're so grateful for your time today and have a nice rest of your day.
Thank you. Thanks, Kimberly.
Thanks, everybody.